Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Gul Knowledge Hub. Welcome my YouTube family to your own channel, which is Gul Knowledge Hub. Today we are going to discuss small talk or how to keep your English conversation going on. I am going to share my 7 top tips which will help you to steer your conversation instead of getting stuck. Because small talk is a super important part of our English daily conversation when you have to communicate with your English partner. And it's intimidating also. Why? Because some of the native English speakers also wonder where the conversation is going next. So, I am going to share my 7 practical tips which will help you a lot. Do you feel that your English speaking skills are holding you back? And do you think that you can speak in English, you can read in English, you can understand in English, but when it comes to speak in English, you get stuck. You don't find any way to steer your conversation, to keep your conversation going on. Because small talk is the most important part of our daily English life, and it's also a tricky one. So let's get started. Let's dive into our video. But before starting the video and sharing the 7 practical steps for small talk, there's a small request. If you haven't subscribed Gul Knowledge Hub, kindly subscribe Gul Knowledge Hub and press that bell icon because it motivates me to make more videos for you guys. So the number 1 tip is to make a list. Yes, dear audience, you have to prepare a list of your own interest. It may be of your hobbies, your activities, your projects about which you are passionate, are knowledgeable about. For example, I am interested in politics, in English literature. I want to talk about English literature, the history of English literature, the authors of English literatures. Just find out your own hobbies and activities in which you are interested. Make a list of your own, revise it at daily basis so that the topics and the questions get stuck in your mind. Because and it's super important to make a list, and if you feel that others are not interested in which you are interested, because your interest is varied, because your interest is sometimes something different from the others, no, you should see that people feel and people like to have different interest. And it may be possible that people are interested in which you are interested. So this is very important technique to have your small talk going on. Make a list. Number 2 is that when it comes to ask questions in the conversation, ask open-ended questions. Yes, dear audience, for small talks, open-ended questions are very important. And what are open-ended questions? Open-ended questions are those questions which start with WH words like when, which, where, why, and how. Because open-ended questions gives a chance to the speaker, to the other person, to answer more broadly, to speak more quickly, to speak more freely. Whereas the closed-ended questions end with yes or no. For example, instead of saying that, do you like your job? You should say, what do you like about your new job? Instead of saying that, are you from here? You should say, where are you from? In this way, you invite the other person to speak more about the topic and your conversation is going on. This is very much important. Number 3 is active listening. It means that you should feel and you should make the other person feel that you are listening actively. And it should not sound that you are just waiting for your turn to talk. Yes, dear audience. And how can you prove that you are actively listening the thoughts of the other person, what the other person is saying to you? Is through your gestures. Like nod your head like this when you agree with something, and react shock when you get shocked by some information. Nod your hair when you disagree with some statement. These are some of the gestures through which you approve and you prove that you are listening actively. And there are some other affirmation words like I see, I know, I understand. Really? So by this you invite the speaker to invite the other person to speak more, and he feels good that you are listening actively to what he is saying. This is very much important. Now you can ask question tags. And now what is question tags? This is very important part of small talk. Question tags, dear audience, is the combination of 2 or 3 words that we add at the end of the statement. Like, the weather is pleasant, isn't it? The words isn't it is a question tag, and it invites the other person to speak more. The place is beautiful, isn't it? Do you live here? Are you? The words are you are question tags. My 5th tip is actually not to speak at all. Just keep silence and listen the other person attentively. Let them talk. This is very much important when you don't have anything to say, when you are lacking of arguments or information about that topic. Just keep silence and nod your head or shake your head. This is important, to keep silence, and this is another way to keep the conversation going on in a conversation. Number 6 is practice, practice, practice. Yes, dear audience, you have to practice a lot. And how can you practice? Talk to your neighbor, talk to your friend, talk to your sister, brother, and just practice these questions. It will give you an opportunity to talk in a more better way. The next is memorize standard phrases. Now it's the time to memorize standard phrases. For example, for starting conversation, you can say that how was your weekend? How are your holidays going on? Why are you here? What are you doing these days? And ending questions like it was nice chatting, nice to meet you. In this way, your small talk will be effective, will be interested, and other person will not be bored. Rather, he will keenly take interest in this conversation. And these are some of the tips which will give you a chance to have your conversation going in a flow. So with this positive note, we end this video. Till the next video, stay happy, stay blessed. Thank you so much. Have a nice day.